exciting about the session. There's like a lot of people here already. We have close to 200 people that are already viewing this live, and close to 400 that have signed up. So it's going to be a fun session, I think, Johannes.
I think so as well. And I asked in the chat if this is it possible to get the unicorn, or what we will build. Like, is it possible to get a unicorn? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean we can build, if you want us to build a unicorn, we could do that. There's a lot of ways and a lot of ways to interpret what that means.
No, but exactly. No, but maybe we should stick to the HR part of this as well. Not that many unicorns.
Yeah, but for those of you who are here joining us, I mean, there's it would be awesome if you could write in the comments maybe where you're calling in from. There's already someone here from New York. There's some people here from the Nordics we know, so it's going to be fun to see if we break the last record. I think we had something like 20 countries last time. So write in the comments who you are, where you're from, your LinkedIn, so other people can kind of check you out, those sorts of things. Anyway, my name is Kristján, and I'm here from 50 Skills, joined with some amazing people. Johannes and Kristín, maybe if you introduce yourselves quickly.
I'm Kristín from Iceland as well, joining from 50 Skills.
And I'm Johannes. I'm joining from Lidköping in Sweden, on the countryside. It's a beautiful day outside. The weather is fantastic. It's cold, but not that cold, so that's good.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I flew in from Helsinki yesterday, and it's actually colder in Reykjavik right now than it is in Helsinki. So what is it? But we can see here the people all over the world. We have Gothenburg, we have Stockholm, we have
Glasgow.
Yeah, a lot of interesting places there.
Rwanda.
Exactly. Okay, this is interesting. Keep it coming, guys, and put in your LinkedIn and you know what you're what are you working at? Are you in HR or in TA? Where are you calling in from? And those sorts of things. This is supposed to be collaborative and everything. But Johannes, why are we here? What are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, why are we here? That's a good question. No, but we're here to build agents. That is at least why I'm here, to see what's actually possible, what's feasible and not, because there's so much hype around agents. Everyone is talking about agents. But what can you do? What can you build? And what kind of agents could you possibly have in HR? Is it hard to build agents? Do I need to be technical? Do I need to be an engineer? Like, I answer all those questions. That will be that is at least why I'm here as well.
Exactly. And I think like a lot of people seem to be like they're using ChatGPT, they're chatting, but they haven't really built like these workflows with AI and like actually doing the work for them or helping them kind of get more practical things. So I mean, that's the whole idea today. It's actually to build, to show you guys, you have an idea, build it out and actually do it live with you. So we have about roughly an hour here together, and we want to get ideas from all of you. So I mean, for those of you in the comments, we're actually tracking everything you're saying and pointing out. So if you want to build, you know, you're in HR, you're struggling with something, let us know. What is it that you would actually like us here today to build in front of you? Whatever you can type in the comments, something special. I think that would be amazing. And just before we kind of get into the building, like putting your ideas, really think about it. That'd be amazing. I think it would be nice to just kick it super early off with just like a basic, like what are we talking about when we say agents or workflows or AI workflows? And I have this just super, you know, just one slide here that I wanted to show you really quickly, Johannes, and just hear your thoughts. I mean, this is sort of like these three things, right? You have this old school workflow, like I don't know, in a context of like maybe onboarding someone, like you're hiring them and it sends a welcome email and it like has an integration with the system. And then you have like the identical same thing, but instead of maybe just manually sending out a message, like an AI is writing it, or an AI is maybe validating if some of the content you put in is working, or checking if the contract is actually valid, if everything's okay. Like, so you've sort of added these agents in between a workflow to do stuff. And then, I mean, and just the third part here, you have something called like an AI agent, where it's just sort of deciding what to do in what order, like whether it's you write a message or send an email or whatever. So these are sort of like, I don't know, these are like things that people are talking about. Workflows with AI, and just an AI agent. And this is like, this is one way of trying to explain it. And just to kind of quickly explain this part, like these old school workflows that can be really valuable when you're building automations, they're super deterministic. Like when the email has been sent, it will, you know, add someone to a system. But an AI agent is super probabilistic. So it's trying to come up with the most likely answer to be correct at any given point. And so when you can actually add these agents into a deterministic workflow, you can see some interesting magic happen. And that's what we're going to build here today. And one of the ideas that I had, Johannes, about this is to actually just start it off by showing one of these things live. Like to actually, if I just go here for a simple QR code that I prepared. So for you in the audience who are watching, if you actually scan this code, you will get a form. And the form will just ask you to put up a fun fact about yourselves. And if you scan the code, you fill out the form, an AI agent will kind of write a joke. And once it's written the joke, it's going to basically send you a joke in a text message on the spot or in an email on the spot. And we're going to show you how that works and how it's built. So if you can scan it, fill in your stuff, we're going to see some interesting things right away. So you can do the same thing, Johannes, if I just kind of open this up.
Yes, I'm doing it now.
So we'll see some people popping up here in a second in the system, and then we'll kind of go into the building part. So please scan the code here on the right, fill something out, and it's going to be fun to see. So Johannes, you just filled this out, and you wrote here, "I love AI and riding my bike," with a typo. I love that.
Yeah.
And so and so what happens is the AI agent looks at that, it runs this prompt here, and it sends you a joke on the spot in a text message. So right now you should have a text message saying something like, if I just go here and I just go, everyone's filling things out. If I take look at your text, and you asked for it in Swedish. So
no, I asked for it in Norwegian actually.
Oh, Norwegian, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for those of us who are not Norwegian, what does it tell us, Johannes?
So how do you know that Johannes loves AI and cycling? He's constantly hoping for that his cycle to get an upgrade to run itself, to by itself. Yeah.
And you can see what's happening here. All these attendees here, they're filling out the form, right? And you can see how the AI agent is running the form, seeing what's happening, and people are writing all sorts of things about themselves. Let's take a look at Sophia here. She says, like, live in the forest and outdoor activity or something. And then you kind of see a joke, why did Johanna bring a ladder to the forest party? She heard that drinks were in the house. So what's happening here, Johannes? What's happening here is that we have a workflow that has been built in this system here. And it starts with a form, super basic. Somebody has a form here with an AI joke, and you can kind of pick these things that we just had seconds ago. And when people have filled out the form, the next thing will trigger, in this case, an AI agent. And this is the instruction, super basic. It's a prompt, just like you would put into ChatGPT. Like, we're sending an email to a person. It's actually incorrect here. That just booked the demo with us, but fine. We asked them to hear an AI joke or something like that. And then it's putting in here some dynamic information. It's putting in here, this is the name of the person. You can just click the plus, and you can just pick like their full name or first name or something. And then it will add that to the prompt. So instead of manually doing that every time, it's doing it. And then the second thing that's happening is like, what is it that they were asking about? This is what they told us about them. And then here you have you actually have the form itself, which is like, tell us something about you. And you can just add that here, and then it will also add that to the information. And so what's happening, it's running this prompt, and then it's giving us these two outputs here. One is called the joke text message. Well, what does that mean? Well, if you edit it, it just says, write a joke that can fit a text message, and it should just, just include the joke, no extra info. And so this is basically how it works. You can then take that joke and you can put it into a text message. So here you say, if they have put in their phone number, make sure to actually put the output of that joke. So you can just look at it here. You have an AI agent here. You can just take the joke message and put it here. And now it's going to take the joke that it puts, and it's going to send it in a text to the individual. Now, I covered this a little bit quickly, so we're going to cover this a little bit slower when we built a workflow. But just for this super basic workflow here, this takes like 5 minutes to build. Super simple. It's a form, it's a joke, and then you put the joke in the text message. Nothing else. So with that being said, I would love to hear from the audience. This was just like a joke message with some AI in between. But what would be fun to build here? What would you guys?
So I think we have a good overview, or we have a good suggestion from Lina Norén. She says that create an agent for negotiations protocols, which is basically so. And you tell me if this is possible or not. But when you do, and I assume that this is what you mean now, because you said create and store, Lena. And so basically, you have a meeting with the union, and I assume that then that we record that meeting and we tell the union that we're going to record it and all of that. But then based on that recording or based on that transcription, would it be possible then to create a predefined sort of protocol and store that somewhere? Is that doable?
Yeah, super interesting. I mean, you could definitely, so there's many ways of doing it. And that's also the interesting part. Like, how would you take something like that? You do a meeting, you have a meeting transcript, you take the meeting transcript, you put it somewhere, and then you have like an AI agent reviewing the transcript and coming up with some outputs. And what are those outputs? Like, is it a back and forth conversation? Is it like a document? Is it a message? Is it like you said, protocol? So like, what is a protocol? Is it like, and so these are the things that you kind of like try to narrow down. I think, I mean, for us right now, it would be interesting, like in the context of HR, I think we can get back to this one is a little bit tricky on how we build it, but we can get back to it later. I think in the context of HR, it would be nice to take something that's like super common that most people are struggling with and build maybe like some of the building blocks for that. So I'm like wondering, like Kristín, like you've met with like hundreds of HR managers, and like if you meet with someone, what are like the most common things that people are struggling with?
I think the biggest process usually is the onboarding process. And it's usually a headache, you know, there's just things that are like being not going like they should be going. And so I think that's like usually a bigger process that companies want to automate and see a huge value in automating and adding AI into. So.
And onboarding is huge. Onboarding is like everything from like pre-boarding from before they start and onboarding like after their first work day. And then you have like documents created and connecting to systems and new hire. So it can be quite large and probably different depending on the roles you're hiring, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's we also kind of split it up into pre-boarding before the person starts, and then the onboarding after they start, and then the thing that happens after the onboarding period. So the feedback and all of this to try to iterate the process and make sure it gets better every time.
Okay. I mean, I think it could be interesting to hear from the audience if there's anything specific, like if you guys are struggling with onboarding, for example, is anything specific in the onboarding process that you're like, oh, it'd be really cool to see this or that, and we can start to map something up and then just add to it whatever people see and say. Does that make sense for you, Kristín?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like also a fun process to build out because everyone relates to it, even though you don't have because it's a process that either you built yourself or you're doing yourself, or that you've been through at a company and you can relate to the things that didn't go as you planned.
Okay, so maybe Kristín, we're going to try this exercise, Johannes. Kristín is going to share her screen, and you and I are going to basically interpret what she is doing. So she's going to build the process out. We're going to have the audience, like when you're seeing what Kristin's doing, ask questions, like let us know whatever you have. And we're going to see how you kind of build this out live in front of us. So Kristín, do like a basic onboarding for us live, and then we can take on the next process and add to it or build something completely new based on what people have to say here in the comments.
Yeah, sounds good. But I also want it to be like very super interactive. So I kind of want you guys also to guide me on like what do you feel like is like we should be building, and people online to share. But I will start with sharing my screen, and then we can just discuss like what do we feel like adding.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna share my screen here.
There's already some interesting questions here as well. Like you're collecting this. Yeah, I can see you're liking it.
I collect them all. So let's start with onboarding ones and then see, because I really like Peter's as well. Create an AI process to improve performance management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is Kristín doing here? She's basically creating a new process from a start, right? And she's just kind of calling it like onboarding here. Mm-hmm. And she's so basically she's figuring out here on the right side. She's basically picking an action to work with. And this is sort of I think I mentioned this to you, Johannes. We have different styles, like how we think. And so her way of doing a style is to use this thing called placeholders. I mean, they don't really do anything. They're just like text writing how you built it, and then she converts that into like the action, right? At least that's what I think you're doing, Kristín.
Exactly. So I'm thinking about like mapping up the process, like just like with placeholders, just like what we do on a whiteboard. Just think about like how is our dream process? Like what should it have, or what should it include? Like how should it start, and what should happen in the process? So maybe just as a discussion with you guys, like what do you think is like the first thing? I'm thinking about you've decided you want to hire someone. So that's where we're gonna build the process from. You know, I've interviewed Kristján, and I'm gonna I've decided that I want to hire you. So usually, you know, we start with the paperwork, or like, do you have some other comments around that? You know, you want to like sign the contract, you need to get some details for the contract. Usually that's what happens, but I also want to, you know, edit it based on what you think.
Yeah, but okay. So we have a great suggestion from, and I'm going to do this so much injustice, X3. Sorry for slaying your name, but and I think this is a common thing as well. Follow-up meetings. So after the onboarding, and just to coordinate and get feedback on how the new employee is doing, because I think that's it's an overlooked step. That like we are usually, and this is maybe says more about Jeffrey. Sorry, I said I slayed it, so I'm sorry for that as well. Jeffrey, then I know. Thank you for correcting me as well. No, but after onboarding is done, what usually happens is that you know, it's happy-go-lucky, and there's this follow-up feedback, and I can also add to that as well. I think it's good to have a loop where you onboard someone, and then you also feedback back to the recruiter, because the recruiter is usually hands off the person, sends it into an organization, and then they have no clue on how that person, like if they're a bit into the weeds, they know how the person is doing, but in most cases they just hand it over to the hiring manager or to the manager, and then they don't hear back. So also get into the loop that, hey, you should probably tell the recruiter after a couple of weeks or months that, hey, this person is really great, like we should hire more of this person, and this is what makes the person great as well. So if we could include some kind of loop in there, that would be, I think that would be super, and good for the organization, good for the person as well, and good for the recruiter as well to tune in. Okay, what kind of people are we hiring, and what makes a hire a good one and not. So a full feedback loop.
I love that. And I can see already what Kristín is trying to do here. She's just starting with this one. So this is like a good use case here from, I'm going to pronounce it like Jeffrey, if I'm doing the pronunciation right. And she's basically just starting with this one. So she's just like writing in text like what we're thinking here. So like a follow-up will happen. Like, so it's going to ask the manager like 2 weeks after the first workday, how's it going, right? And then it's also going to ask the new employee, like how's it going with the new employee. So you kind of have these two branches. You're going to do something for the manager, you're going to do something with the employee, and then we can even play with that together a little bit later on. But I like the thinking process here. So so this is like a placeholder just explaining what it's going to be. And this is usually what we often do, like when you're mapping these things up, you just start by writing the text. So you kind of get the context of like, okay, this is what we're thinking about doing, right? And you kind of get, maybe if you have many stakeholders, you have them together in a room, and you're just making sure everybody's on the same page. And then you can actually go and turn it into something real. So like, and one of those things when you're kind of turning into something real is also like how do you ask them? Like, is it a survey? Is it like, how does someone like give their feedback that something was good or not? Is it a text message or email that goes to the manager, or a Slack message or whatever? And so you can kind of control all of these things. And what Kristín is doing here, she's adding something called like a wait action. So it's basically saying like 2 weeks after the person's first workday. So she added this variable called the first workday, which is like an important variable when you're onboarding someone. So like 2 weeks, like 14 days after it at 9 o'clock, then this next action will actually trigger. And then you're going to basically have like, how's it going on your first workday? And now let's transform that into a form. So instead of having it just like a type something, she's going to create a form right now. And now you're kind of deciding, how does that form look like? And this could be like, you know, how is the new employee doing, basically? And this is the form for the manager. So now you're kind of designing the look and feel of the form for the manager itself. And you can have like a bunch of things to put there, but let's just do like a simple question like she's doing right now. So you kind of, she's going to put in some question like, how's it going? And you can have like, maybe, you know, if you want to have select options, or you can have a text field, like whatever you want. Sometimes people want to, because with AI now, you can just put in a text field and interpret it. But let's just do something basic here, like it's going well, okay, or not well. And of course, if you wanted to have it at different scale or something, you could easily do that. And then maybe, I don't know, some just cool text, like, I don't know, like whatever could be there, share what the experience was or something. And I also think, like, I think these are tools that you've also started using, Johannes. Stuff like Whisper Flow, where you can just click a button and record what you say, and it will kind of like fill this thing out. So it's really fun to play with this. And maybe, I don't know, Kristín, can you make it look cooler, like with an image or something? Can you add something nice on top? So just to kind of, I mean, Johannes, you're a photographer. What do you like to see?
Do something. This is so based now that this time in Sweden we do a Swedish flag, but absolutely. But a question here, and we got the good question as well. Like, does this integrate with Slack? So, for example, could I get this ping in Slack? For example, if we're a Slack company here, could I just get a ping in Slack saying, like, you know what, now it's just time for you to fill out this new employee form? Because I think also that's in most organizations that I've been in, it's like if you add yet another system, people get tired because you add yet another system. And if you can integrate it in a system where they're already spending time, and Slack is, I mean, used by many teams, is others, of course, but is it possible to integrate it?
So let's take a look at that, what Kristín does here. So basically, you click the plus, and here you see like a ton of integrations that you can add. You can add basically any integration to the system. And if you prefer to use Teams or Slack or something, you can just pick that. And then you can like, oh, I'm going to send it to a private message or to a Slack channel. How do you want it to work? And that's really different between. So pick whatever you think, Kristín. Maybe this is I don't
private
know.
Message.
Yeah, let's just pick something here. And then you can kind of go like, how are you going to map this together? And you can hear like the who is the person that's receiving this. That's also like an interesting one. So
it would be mapped out like within Slack integration. It would like you would choose like the person, like if this is the manager or and so on. So it could send them just a text message like, hey, you could write something.
Yeah, exactly. Like.
Yeah, so it's good. Like, so it could be Slack or Teams, or wherever you want to have it.
If you prefer to do that way, yeah.
Could I also then? So this now I'm jumping ahead, but it's still it's
go for it.
So let's say then, so I get this. The manager fills this out, all good and dandy. Could I then automatically send that back to the recruiter in some shape or form? That, for example, it sends a summary that this is the summary of what the employee thinks, how it's going, any obstacle that they've been facing, and this is also what the manager is feeling in regards to this person.
Absolutely. So just like she's doing now, it could be a physical email like recruiter at 50 skills, but it could also be like you map it up with the recruiter if you've already added like a link to the recruiters in there, you can just list them up there, and then you can just write the subject like she's doing now, or like, and if you can just write whatever subject you want. But what we could also do, we could have an AI agent that has a step before that looks at the feedback. So you can either have it map automatically with no AI, where you're just kind of looking at the feedback and sending it in, or you can have an AI agent a step before. So now she's just like, she's saying the feedback is, and she's going into the form, and she's saying like, oh, the feedback is like the share what the experience is, and it's just kind of putting up those details. So now the recruiter is going to get an email with this, right? So basically how this works, just to show you now, like, so somebody's filling out the form. Once they filled out the form, it's going to send an email to the recruiter saying how's it going with the information and the experience. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is to have, if you kind of, I don't know, Kristín, if you want to add a step before, have an AI agent kind of summarize these things or something. So if it was more like an open text field, or like if you're writing like in detailed experience, or maybe you had a meeting with the employee and you recorded the whole thing, and you can basically put that feedback in there, and then that would actually be much longer, but you just want to summarize the details of it and send that to the manager. So both of these things are possible. And so Kristín is sort of showing how that is. This is something called structured outputs, which is the same we used in the joke message. So she's saying now, instead of just getting text back like you do in ChatGPT, you can basically pick the type of output you want. In this case, it's a paragraph. So you want like a paragraph. You can also have it a one-liner, or you can have it a number, or you can have all sorts of things. And she's saying, just give me like a 320 character summary of this, meeting transcript or something, or the sentiment of these things. And you can have multiple outputs in the same agent. So, and this is actually really interesting, because an output in an agent could be something like she's doing now. Give me a summary, 320 characters, keep it super concise with just the actions I should do as a recruiter. That could be one thing. But then you could also maybe just add like another thing, Kristín, like a sentiment or something. So you could like maybe say just like sentiment analysis. Is this like positive?
Or
something like that? And you can just say, these are the 3 options that are there. And you can do all sorts of detailed instructions. So basically what you'll end up with, like, okay, yeah, these are good, like positive, negative, and neutral. So basically, let's say you've done this 100 times. You can then filter like the actual, you'll get the paragraph of the summary for each, but you'll also get like, how was the experience based on this transcript? Was it positive, negative, neutral? So you're building like a small database of interesting data that can really show you if the onboarding experience has been great or not.
And this is I think this is great. So I would say one thing to the audience as well. If you have any questions, post them in the chat now as well. If this is going too fast, or if you don't like, hey, what did you do here? Like, just shout if you have any questions or thoughts or comments. Like, once again, we have not rehearsed this. This is happening here now. We do what you tell us basically, and now we're focusing on onboarding, of course. But like, if you want to say like, but can you do this? Can you do that? Like, spit it out, because this is happening here now, and this is not. We've said before this that we're not going to rehearse it, so this is happening once again here now. So but I will also say that I'm not an engineer. Like, I'm not technical. Is this all there is? Like, do I need to code anywhere? Like, what? It doesn't seem like that when you show it, Kristín. But like, is it like this, or do I need to code, or what technical skills do I need?
Absolutely. It's like most of our customers, like I think like 80% of our users are just typical HR team experts. They're not technical at all. And that's so that's just, yeah, our answer now. It doesn't need to be technical at all.
And we got a really good question from Lina as well. How does the agent know who's newly employed? How do I get them into the flow?
That's a great question. So we'll go into that right now. But first, just to explain what Kristín is doing now, which is super interesting. She added a condition. So she said, if it's super, I think it was negative. It's very negative. So maybe you have a sentiment analysis on a scale of 1 to 10. And this is a very negative comment. Something is not good here. We have to act on this. Then you can have a branch, and it will only trigger if the value is, like in this case, negative, but you could have it like extremely negative or something. And then you could have it do something else, like maybe send a text message to a manager, or Slack message, or something that really notifies senior people. But if that's not the case, it will just kind of go into a database that you look into like once a week or month or something. So you can start to kind of map up your flows like that. But I love the question from Lina, of course, like how do you actually know to get them into the flow? And there are multiple ways you could do that. You can either manually add people, like just manually fill something out, either with a format you create where you collect information, or you just manually do it within the system. The other thing that you can do is just to have an integration with your ATS or HRIS or job board or whatever you use to hire people. And so in the beginning here, you have something called add a trigger. You can see there's an image there of manually added. That's an option. The form is an option, which we just built earlier. I mean, if you click the external form, you just kind of are building a form. Like, what is the info you want from someone that's being added? And then there's the third option, which is an integration with other tools, and basically just retrieve it from the option there. This one is a little bit technical, but if Kristín clicks it at trigger, you can pick things like webhooks or scheduled polling or something like that. Our team can help you set that up with your ATS. And so that basically, for example, in your ATS, if you move them to a stage which is like send them an offer letter or send them a contract, like that will trigger all of the information from the ATS to go into this system. And like all of the CVs and the cover letter, whatever you want, will go into this and trigger the workflow. So that's I mean, and a very common thing. I mean, some people start with the offer letter. I mean, it would be interesting, Kristín, maybe to see, just to show people that you can also have documents in this thing. So it's not just like sending text and agents. Like you can actually have real practical things, like create a document. So if you have something like a Word document or something, you can just upload it. And when you upload it, it will if you just click the eyeball there, you can see how it looks like. Like you have like all the fields that have these curly bracers. It will basically detect them. So in this case, it's like the email, the phone, and the name, and other things. It will automatically detect them. And if you have this information from the person being hired in the form or in other places, you can map it to the document. So you're starting to automatically create contracts and paperwork and fill them out in the right place. So this can be very useful. And the interesting part is, like, when you mix this with AI, it becomes super useful, because you're having a system automatically create paperwork, like Kristín is doing right now. But then once you've done the paperwork, there might be things that you want to check, like is everything valid? Does it like adhere to company policies? Like something like that. And you can have an agent check that as the step after it, before it kind of goes into whatever is coming next.
Yeah, but can I also have a human intervention here? Like, let's say it creates the document. Can I add a step where it says like, I need to approve this as a recruiter or as a hiring manager or whatever it might be? And when I give the thumbs up, then it sends the contract.
Yeah. So I mean, if you click any action, it has this trigger method, automatic or manual. And if you have manual, you can just assign it to anyone in your team, and then that person will need to actually like click the button and will like review it, make edits, change it, and then once they've like here, Danielle, for example, is assigned to do this, and so basically it would never continue until Danielle has finished doing it.
Oh, cool.
And maybe if we like, just so people understand the documents here, I'm creating the contract, but usually we get the information somewhere from, for example, from the employee, from the manager, all of this to create the contract. So that's usually when we, create these forms, which is just to collect, I can create it from scratch to say something, welcome. And ask for all the details they need to have.
Yeah, like all the information. Like if someone is joining your company, they might have filled in some questions in your ATS, but you might probably need like, I don't know, their home address or their like all sorts of information for the employment contract, and maybe for systems that you're creating users in. And so you can just start to kind of create the forms with all the info that you need it for in that place. And then also like sometimes you need that information from many sources, right? You have it like you might have the employee that's starting needs to give you a bunch of info, but then you need like a manager needs to like somewhere put the input of what the salary should be, or that goes into the contract, or another maybe IT person needs to decide what the email of the person should be for the company. So you can have like all of these stakeholders mapped into the workflow, and then you take information snippets from different places to create the actual contract. Like Kristín now is showing you an example of info that's needed for a contract in a certain type of company. Maybe they have clothing sizes or certificates or whatever. And like Victoria is asking, like, does it need like all the info? Does it like the info from the ATS? You can decide, Victoria. You can all the info you have in the ATS, you can map it automatically, or you can have forms that you add that take that information in. So sometimes you want to double check it, sometimes you want to have it separate. It's really all customizable how you do these things. And also, I mean, you could have like many companies, they have like multiple, like companies are built different, Johannes. Like some have like multiple subsidiaries and they have different logos on their contracts and different setups. Like you can have multiple onboarding processes. You can have one for junior people, one for senior people, one for certain locations. And so you can really start to map these things up. And this is often where a lot of these workflows go wrong. Like people have built something, but they're kind of stuck in this one way of doing it.
I want to mention one thing here, sorry, but while we're sending these forms out and these like requesting information, which is because I think a lot of people in HR relate to the time that is spent on trying to track if like all the information is here and sending all these emails, the reminders like, hey, I'm still waiting for your bank account or all of these things. So then you can just set up like automatic reminders here. So you can have them like email or even a text message reminder, like 3 days if they haven't filled out this form in 3 days, or send it every 3 days, look 2 more times, And if they haven't filled it out, then you inform the HR team like, hey, we're still waiting for information from Kristján. Maybe you need to just call them, or even have set up an AI agent to call them. But that's maybe the next thing.
Yeah. But this one is huge, and maybe that's one thing we haven't shown you, Johannes, the difference between this system and a lot of systems. Like somebody asked, how is this different from like a Power Automate?
Exactly. That was my question as well then, so I mean I've played around with Power Automate a bit as well. This is pure from heart, nothing else. So Power Automate, like I struggle with the ease of use. This seems, look, obviously I haven't played around with it myself, but just by you showing it, this seems easier. But that's just my initial thought. Once again, I have not played around enough with 50 skills to say if that is true or not. But at least with Power Automate, it's quite cumbersome to get this to work. That is my experience with Power Automate so far.
And that's great to hear, and we'll show you the difference in a second as well. But like the thing that we are really trying to do here is to lower the bar and how easy it is to create workflows. Because creating workflows is complicated. It is complicated, and we're trying to lower the bar so that more people can do it. And one of the things that we did differently is this is only intended for what we call people processes. So there's always a person going through the process. And so this product, we call it 50 skills journeys. And it's always, we call it a traveler going through the journey. So it's a traveler going through the journey. And so you can be the traveler's supervisor or their buddy or their friend, or like you can always, like you can be always a person connected to the traveler themselves. And you can basically click anywhere. I mean, maybe we could open another tab, Kristín, to show them. Like if you go to any journey that we have, the AI joke journey before, something else, you can see how every single person traveled through the journey. So here, for example, if you just, Kristín is opening something up here, like this is something for AI screening. Like if you go back, Kristín, a little bit, just one tap back there. These are all the people that may have like gone through a workflow, and you know it's always a person that went through it. What date did they apply? What happened? And if you click any of these people, just scroll down and click any random person, you'll see, oh, okay, this is what happened for this person. Like, and in this case, it's all green. But a lot of cases, some of these colors are maybe orange because it hasn't, like that action hasn't been completed. Somebody hasn't filled out the form or something. And so if you like, for example, Kristín, if you click the list of all of the travelers and the traveler profiles, and if you just click, if you sort it, just any of them, you'll see like that this person has been through 10 workflows. Like, so that is a very different offering, right? You kind of see all your employees, all of the workflows that they've gone through, they've been onboarded, they've been going through this and that. And if you click any of these workflows, just a random one, like the top one or something, like you'll see like how they travel through that workflow. When did it trigger? What happened? What AI was used? What was the input and output? And those are really important ones.
We got a good question from Christina. We actually got two good from her, but I'll take the last one first, and then we'll go to the other one. But are they ready to use template agents? Like, do I need to create everything from scratch? For example, and if you built an onboarding workflow, let's say you have that. Like, do I need to create that from scratch myself, or could I just take your base as a start and then modify it to fit my onboarding, basically?
That's exactly how it works. So on our website, if just to see showing Kristín, just go to the website there. We have something called templates. So just go to the platform there and just go click templates, and you can see a ton of things that we have publicly on the website. And if you click any of these, it will actually show you. It's not just text. Like if you just click a random template there, it will actually show you the actual template like below. You can see there's agents there, and if you like it, you can just click get template, and it will actually duplicate that template into your account, and then you can edit the agent, or you can change it a little bit up. And that's actually what happens most of the times. Like I'd say the templates are maybe 70-80% ready, but there's always something unique to each company. Like they might have a different HR system that they want to update records in, or they might have a different policy here and there. And so that's a really convenient way of kind of getting started.
And maybe also mention that we also have templates that are not on our website, which are just specifically to like a specific type of ATS or these. So it's also we'll like add them to your account when you join.
And Christina also has she has another question that is really good as well. On a general high level, would you say that some of the HR processes can be workflowed or agentified to a larger extent than others? What's your perspective on that, Kristján? You meet, and Kristín as well, you meet a lot of customers, a lot of companies in regards to this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, the system we're showing you now is what I would say it's like a deterministic workflow builder, and then you add like a probabilistic agent there. So that actually means that all types of, for example, requests, like every type of employee request that comes in, instead of having to wait for a human to like review it, come to a conclusion, and get back to the person, you can do that in many senses. You can do that in real time, which is huge. Like that's actually saving you time. It's like instead of you taking every single thing, typing it in and putting it forward, it's doing it real time. So any type of employer request is huge. The other thing I would say is like anything related to the employee life cycle. So like people are sort of joining the company, they're getting onboarded. They are changing positions to cross-boarding and this and that. And then they are leaving the company, maybe to be nurtured to get hired again, or just leaving for good. Like employee lifecycle and employee requests, I would say, are the biggest ones. But I want to say still this third part, like we had this, I want to share this really quickly just to kind of show you, because I think it's relevant here. We had this, it wasn't a survey, it was actually a research on what people have built in the software. So we just checked like what have our customers actually built, like all automations. And yes, like onboarding is the most popular, and you have offboarding, and you have paperwork, and you have events and stuff. But this bottom one here is super interesting. These are bespoke processes, and these are just some things that people have built with it. Bespoke things, like it doesn't even fit a category here because people are building so many unique different things, and they're able to just like understand the building blocks and do it on their own. And one example here is from last 2 weeks ago, we were in Oslo, and we did a really fun event. We had about 100 HR managers. We had like a cocktail at this cool event. And a couple of hours before, we had this idea of creating an icebreaker. And so the icebreaker was basically like, it starts with a form. People just tell a fun fact about themselves, like most people don't know about. And then just before the event started, it randomly matched that person to another person attending the event, and gave them like hints in a text message on who it could be. So, if you, Kristín, and I were there, it would be like, find someone who played in a James Bond movie, or who was a cafe barista champion or something. And what happened is you saw hundreds of people gathering together, and they were it was a huge icebreaker. And like when people found each other, like they were hugging, like it was like two complete strangers. And I think like that was like something that took like, Kristín, I don't know how long it took you, like maybe half an hour, 40 minutes to build or something. So once you have the tools, you can do things that just weren't possible before.
Oh, that's cool. So I have a very concrete, because I want to, can we build something more?
Yes.
So I have a very concrete, like someone asked about performance management as well. And I love that idea. So let's assume that we have forms, like you showed that forms are working and all of that. But let's say we have a lot of different forms. Let's say, for example, you send out forms. A lot of people do that, or they send out, hey, can you do the review of this person? Would it be possible to do a workflow that summarizes those? Let's say that you send it out to 10 people, either colleagues or managers or projects that you're working on. Could you consolidate that into sort of one funnel where you get one summary from all these different places around one specific employee in terms of performance management? Would that be possible to build?
What do you think, Kristín?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's build something.
Because we got the request on performance management. I don't know if that makes it that I make justice to what you asked for, but that it was Peter, create an AI process to improve performance management. So that's my interpretation of that, Peter. So sorry if that's misrepresenting that, but yeah.
No, absolutely. And Peter, throw in questions more if you have some details on it. But like I have 10 ways. There's so many different ways you can do this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But let's just go with whatever pops up into Kristín's head, and then Johannes, you and I can criticize it on the side. That's always good to be the one pointing out the problems instead of building it. Putting you on the spot, Kristín.
So but Johannes, you're thinking about it to send it to like multiple people. So you're
but let's say, so for example, either you have it live within an HR system and you can then extract the reviews, or you have maybe a separate performance review process, or you don't have a tool for doing it, but you still want to sort of gather information. And now we assume that we have that information somehow, either in the document or in a form. But now we like, instead of, because I think a lot of managers, they shift through, okay, this is the information or this is the feedback that I've been getting on this person. But like, could we have AI summarize this? And I know there are limitations to this from the AI perspective as well, but let's ignore that for now. It's solvable. But like, could we condense that into one cohesive summary of this is what this person has been doing over the last year or half year or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So there, like Kristján says, there are multiple different scenarios around this, and we have often our customers often use it to get performance from the manager and the employee themselves, and not necessarily the whole team, but that could also be done. But usually, then we ask for feedback from the manager and on that employee.
Yep.
Let's just say then here would be from employee. And then we have here the third branch is kind of like the summary, review, and suggestions.
Yep.
So then we ask, we send them, let's say, this is just I'm just gonna placeholder because it makes me faster. So we have here the feedback, survey, and just want to have it visual. And then we have the same one basically here, or a similar one just from the employee perspective. And then we have here this becomes a little bit complex the first time you see it, but here we have a functionality that is called wait for other actions. So I'm going to wait for these two to finish before I move to the next one. So I just add them here. I'm waiting for this feedback survey and this feedback survey. So you can see here the lines to these ones. So this is what's going to happen after these two have been completed. And then I'm going to add the AI agent here. For example, Liam here, who has been trained as an HRA.
Kristín loves to use Liam for some reason.
Yeah, my favorite. Yeah.
Oasis, don't know what the
and then I'm going to add here just into the prompt, like this is the feedback from the manager, and then also and then I would add here I could build it on the flow. We'll do it right while you speak later on, but here I would add the feedback from the employee.
Yeah.
And then I would have some, add here suggestions, and then I would ask it to suggest next steps.
I also think there was a workflow at some point that some of our customers built, which was pretty interesting around performance management, which was basically before the meeting, while Kristín is working on this, before the meeting, you had the manager and the employee got sent a message on what they wanted to talk about, what had happened in the last year or 6 months or however frequently it is, and then that would actually go into an agent that would create the agenda for the meeting, and then all the questions to ask and stuff like that, and then they would fill that out again after the meeting. And so before, so basically, you kind of had a loop for every employee. They had you had a performance review, making sure it happened on a recurring basis, and sort of that was super interesting how that got built. So there are different ways of doing it, but this is definitely one way as well.
Yeah. No, but and then Victoria says asks a good question here as well that I was about to ask myself as well. Is that so you branched it into branch C now, Kristín? Why don't place it underneath? Is there a reason for that as well?
Yeah. Actually, you could also place it underneath. It's just the way I do it, because often, but it doesn't apply to this case. But in some cases, I might, this might be false or something. So I don't like. So that's a bit of a logic thing, but I could also put this just under here.
It's also, Johannes, a design mindset. We are also seeing people. Some people love to do it in branches, others love to do it, but basically after one action finishes, the next action triggers, right? Yeah. Exactly. So if it doesn't finish, sometimes you want to split it up for whatever reason.
Yeah. So you could potentially then, you could have let's say if you have a form, you could do a form summarization as well beneath, and then you should, that's a good.
Another thing to mention here, maybe, Kristín, is some people also prefer to have large workflows, large journeys, and others like to kind of bite-size them down. And if you want to bite-size them down, you can actually add people to another journey when it finishes.
So hand it off to another agent, basically.
Exactly. Maybe you want to have a step new hire buddy workflow should maybe be a completely separate journey. And then, Kristín, if you just show them that, for example, let's say that this journey is finishing. If you just click a plus icon anywhere there, then you can have something called where is it? Add traveler to another journey, and then you can just add that to whatever you want, and then that will. So it's this can be really useful in some cases when you want to break things down.
If feedback is bad, add to offboarding journey. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Don't, and never say that I did.
But maybe there was one question here from.
No, don't do it.
I'm kidding.
There was one question here from Caroline, which was saying just an AI agent for the HR inbox, to automatically answer frequent questions. Maybe, Kristín, because we haven't really shown people the portal and stuff. How do people actually trigger these things? So there are different ways you can do it. One of the options is that when you build these forms, you can in the system you can actually add them to a portal. So in this case, it's an employee portal, and so you can just tell your employees, hey, if you ever need anything, just go to the portal, fill this thing out, and then when they fill out, that's going to trigger this workflow. That's going to take over, and that could be any employee request or something. And you can have multiple of these, because you might have one for all of your employees, but you might also have another one for your supervisors. So you mentioned offboarding, Johannes.
Yeah.
How do you offboard someone? There's so many people are leaving, or people are being let go, people are retiring. You could have just a form that only supervisors have access to, where they can just fill out. If you go to the portal, Kristín, I think for supervisors, and you can have it password protected, or you can have it. Anyway, we don't remember the password. There's a good. You can also have an SS. Yeah, you can also have an SSO thing there as well. But this is classic. But yeah, so there's a lot of different things. And maybe just like the difference between, because also just like the other systems, like we're trying to make it less technical. And like this system is designed for HR. It's designed to be simple for people in HR. So all of the things we're adding to it, like all of the templates, all of the use cases, all of these webinars, like we're really trying to explain this in a context of HR. And I think that's something that's super important, because if you're trying to solve something for the entire world, it's going to get get strangled in so many different things.
But I didn't really catch this one. So the general support form that we have now, what happens if I send an email here? That triggers an agent or an answer, or what happens with the...
Exactly. I have here, like, I have some examples, but I think it would be cool just to think about like how it usually is done. So just so you can see exactly how it's built. So I have this form that was just, general support, something. It's called just support. Someone filled out here some long text. What do you need help with? Which they need to submit with it. So it's just like this basic form.
Yep.
And then we have here the next step. It's mostly like the AI agent that you want to use then. You want to categorize it. You want to send them like, this is the question. And then I just add here the plus icon. I can fill out the, what do you need help with? So the AI agent knows this. Then we add in here, like, maybe, you want to ask, like, you want to have the AI agent understand, like, and tell me a bit, like, what is this question about? So for example, like, which department, or like something like, do you know the answer to this? If this is just like a frequently asked question to this, and then I'm just gonna tell them like yes or no, and based on your knowledge, tell me if you know the answer. So that could be like, that's the most, hopefully these are the most common cases that you have. So it's going to tell you, yeah, I know the answer. So let's just start with that. And then we add here a branch. And then I'm going to add like more things. But, but here I have the branch.
Yeah, exactly.
If AI knows the answer.
And you can add documents and stuff to the knowledge as well, Johannes. So if you have company policies and everything, you can do that. And there's like all sorts of tools and systems that are making it easier to do that. But like you can add that to it. And so you sort of have like all of the employee questions, does it know the answer or not? And then route people to the right path or give them the response.
Yeah.
So some people started doing something really cool the other day, which was people can ask about anything. And then the AI will draft a response. But before sending it, it just lets the HR manager know, this is what I think you should send. And it's just like a button. And so basically, if you always agree with the AI, like if you agree with the AI 100 times out of 100, then maybe you can just put it on all autopilot. But because a lot of people are afraid to put a chatbot out there that's going to just respond to stuff that could be gibberish.
But so I can upload basically any document to this. Like, for example, if I have my collective bargaining agreements, or I want to have an agent that answers questions based on the collective bargaining agreements, I can just easily upload that. And if it doesn't know the answer, it will just send it, hey, you should ask this, you should send the question, or the question should go to the HRBP instead.
Yeah, that's exactly how it could work. Yeah, cool. Exactly. And there's also like, I think it would be valuable maybe, Kristín, to show them like maybe a couple of, this is there's a couple of pre-built workflows that we already have, so people get the idea. I don't know, if you, for example, just go for, the parental workflow or like the health benefit one or something, like you can kind of show like, if you go back like one step, like seeing all the people who have started the workflow like this, it's super valuable. And then if you click Ted, for example, in the bottom, like Ted here is on parental leave, and you just know that like 6 months later, 7 months later, something's going to trigger. It gives you this peace of mind, right? And so that's really like one way to explain it. Like, I don't know, it's actually happening in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, like in December 8th, like this is going to trigger, and then it's going to send like a message out to HR about ordering presents or whatever the policy is around parental leave for the company. So I think it's like these are the type of things that can be really valuable to have. Like, there are hundreds of different work tasks happening within organizations, and I think the real value of AI is when you actually see the agents do the work for you, like when it actually starts to do that. And to do that, you need to have a workflow that maps out how to do it and then shows you where the agents are placed before. That's really when you can kind of unlock it. And it might just start with, 5 minutes here and there to begin with, but once you've done this for 50 things, it really starts to count, and that is super valuable.
Yeah. No, but I think also, I mean, the things I've seen when people do this, and when you build workflows like this, or you build processes, I mean, the hard part is usually not building. I think people have and that's my leading question around, do you need to be an engineer or not? But which is, I think, is a bit leading at least. But the hard part for me is not building stuff. Building is easy. But the hard part is to automate and augment or identify the right things. That's the hard part. Like, how do you intentionally know that, hey, this is something that I should automate? Most people say like, oh, we know a bunch of stuff that we could automate, but when you really pressure test that as well, is it a problem? Does it take time? Whatever it might be, then people usually say like, yeah, it would be nice to have, but it's not business critical, or like, so it's hard. In my experience, at least, the hard part is to define what kind of processes should we automate first, what makes the most bang for the buck, and really solve that end to end. Like, don't settle for, okay, it's 50% automated. Like, it should be done fully automated.
Yeah. And I think it's like, and I think we've had this before, like, basically, if you're spending X many hours on something per week or month or year, then it starts to flow over, right?
Yep.
And the easier it is to build the workflow, more things to automate starts to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I am also like, I mean, and there's kind of two thought practices here. I would argue that it might sometimes be smart not to start with the most practical process on day one. Just do something that works. Anyone watching now, you can try it for free. You can build an AI joke and you can do it in half an hour, right? And I mean, if you're an expert, you can do it in 5 minutes. But if you've never done it before, you can do it in half an hour.
Yeah.
Then you kind of learn the building blocks. And if you learn by doing, if you actually learn how to do these things by doing, then it will unlock so many different things around the org. And that is actually what I think is the biggest valuable part. And then you can start to do onboarding, offboarding, performance management, whatever else you want. The other thing is like so spend time, learn by doing. But I would say like the ones that are getting the most success, how it typically works is that they sit down and they start with, they play with this thing a little bit, but they start with one use case. So it could be like onboarding people or offboarding people. It could be the employee request, whatever. They start with one use case. They build it and get it right and see it running and just go ahead with one. You don't need to like overcommit for a 3-year journey. Just do one thing, make it work. And then if you start to spend like 2 hours, 4 hours per week, something like that, you'll start to get a new workflow up and running like every week, every other week. And before like in 1 year, you'll have like 20 things and they're all automating these. You've mapped up your work around the org. And that's really where people, in my mind, are getting the most value. They've just turned on this kind of habit of automating and thinking in workflows around their work.
Oh, good.
I want one thing about the general questions, the last thing, because here we had like the AI didn't know the answer, so it decided like who knows it. So it decides, you know, where like I added this here, so it knows if it's like a question to IT, HR, sales, whatever. And then you might have like different ways these departments want to get these answers. You know, if you have like, for example, IT, they always want like a Jira ticket. They don't want to get it else. You have like maybe someone else wants like an Asana ticket. Someone else wants a message on Slack. Some department wants an email. So you can set it up like in the way that makes sure that all departments like answer in the platform they want to answer.
Yeah.
In the last minute, because we have 2 minutes left, but Clara has a really good question as well. Except for building automated workflows for HR admin, can you, in this type of system, build an AI coach for managers, for example? An AI buddy for managers from an HR perspective? I think that's a great question.
Yeah, it depends on how you should do it, right? So there's different ways of doing the workflows. I mean, you could have somebody send you a message, like for managers, you could have someone send a manager a questionnaire or a test or something on a repeatable basis and get the responses and have it kind of learned back. So there's a lot of ways of doing these things. But the trick is often like, how should it work? So it always starts with that conversation. It's like, how are you doing it today? How would you want that to work in a perfect world? And you've got to start with that conversation. And then once you have that, you can build the first version of it or second version of it. And there are often templates that we have in our team that we could share with people. But that being said, because it's the kind of final minute here, I mean, we wanted this to be practical, Johannes. It's really hard to build 30 things in an hour. But I think Kristín, you did an amazing job. Thank you for showcasing how you did these things. But I wanted like I have always been a big believer in learn by doing.
Yeah.
And so whatever, whoever you are, whatever you are, whatever tools you like to use, like play with them, learn how they are, see if it can help you solve those problems. You can also, I mean, with our team, you can always book a session if you want to learn more and kind of get our help with it. But we are also, Johannes, we are hosting a workshop in the spirit of learn by doing. We're hosting a workshop on January 21st in Stockholm, central Stockholm, which is a 3-hour workshop. It's actually the three of us. It's you, it's me, it's Kristín. So if you want to, like, pull up the sleeves in the new year and kind of enhance your AI workflow capabilities, I mean, come join us. I think it's free. It's a free session.
Yes.
But I also think it's a limited capacity. So I mean, just sign up if you are really interested.
But it's 3 hours, so we have plenty of more time and actually then build stuff as well. And you can bring your own stuff, and we'll try to build. Like, you don't. I'm not over promising if I say that you don't need to buy anything in order to join. You can just join, and then we'll help you build stuff if you want to do that.
And we'll have more people attending online, like workers that are like experts in this thing. So even if we are all busy, we'll have other people there. But really loved having you guys. We have like it was just it's amazing to see how many people from how many countries are here. And for those of it we didn't answer the questions or anything, we'll follow up with you after the chat and just show you some examples of how we can do some of the things that you asked about.
Cool. Thank you so much. Fantastic. And I love the fact that we're building live. That it's not like pre-made stuff, like it's on the fly. But that's the beauty of it. I truly think that as well, because it's so easy to do polished agent building stuff as well. But I'm so happy that I got to just take stuff from the audience, interpret it, and throw it at you as well.
For pushing the boundaries. You always bring some tough questions. It's good.
Yeah, but that's good. That's how you progress, right? So yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys,